the South African Army is doing in collaboration with other state, is doing this in collaboration with other state departments. We're maintaining a total of 13 companies of the South African Army in border operation, and our forces are turning the tide against motor vehicle and drug smuggling, illegal border crossing, theft, livestock, and rhino poaching. Let me pause there. You know, when we had the minister's media brief after the budget vote speech in Cape Town, I realized that some of the terminology we use is not understandable by some of our colleagues from the media. For instance, when we talk about companies, people thought we were talking about, trading or commercial companies, The company is actually a sub-unit organization that is composed of about 150 men. So when we refer to companies, that's what we're talking about. Since January 2014, our soldiers have confiscated and handed over to the authorities 5,173 kilograms of dagga, 53 stolen vehicles, 19 firearms, 2 shotguns, a revolver, and lots of ammunition. We arrested more than 7,029 undocumented persons and confiscated contraband goods to the value of a whopping 24.2 million. Our stock farmers were reunited with more than 142 cattle, 205 goats, and 116 sheep, which they lost through stock theft. The SA Army continues to make a difference amongst our communities. We are the army of the people. The SA Army went to Vonderkop to assist the Independent Electoral Commission in delivering ballot papers to voting districts when it became obvious that the safe delivery could not be guaranteed unless we moved in. As we seek more funding from National Treasury to arrest the decline within the South African Army, we are well aware of the expectation that comes with acceptance of taxpayers' money. With the current budgetary allocation that we command, my office is against any form of abuse of state funds. The South African Army is proud to announce that we are cautious in the manner in which we use the finances entrusted to us. As the South African Army will never condone fruitless expenditure of the fiscus and with so much poverty surrounding us. It is for this reason that we push our people to be wary of corrupt, unethical practices, and we have, to that effect, managed to achieve 2 consecutive unqualified audits and continue to push the envelope of what is possible, even in our complex operational sphere. Our financial audits show a force at work with high ethics and an awareness to never abuse the trust the South African public puts on us. We are excited in the South African Army since there is movement on the defense review front aimed at bolstering our efforts towards fulfillment of the mandate that the Constitution sets on us, that of providing combat-ready forces to safeguard our borders and territorial integrity, while also playing a role in laying a foundation from which social development would be possible. We're also mindful that the South African Army is not a social agent for economic development and upliftment of the public. The Defense Review report recommends a change in the approach on how the SANDF and the SA Army in particular conducts business for us to fulfill our constitutional mandate. Our responsibility exceeds just doing border control and safeguarding the people of the Republic. We're part of the global community that asks of us to become involved on the African continent as part of the African Union and United Nations. We've been aware of the challenges that have been hindering our operations for a few years, and have since reported that to our principals. It also gives us great joy that our requests are now being considered, albeit in a phased approach, depending on the availability of funds. We're now actively on a drive to arrest the decline that renders our army unable to optimally reach the heights we would like to reach. The Defense Review makes it possible to continue full-scale force rejuvenation, revamp, and in some cases replace aging equipment, whilst at the same time addressing issues of aging, derelict facilities. The SAM is moving forward with that, and there's a need to improve the conditions of our soldiers on the ground. We've made efforts to acquire new equipment from our defense industry and revamp old ones to keep our force fit for purpose. The Badger infantry fighting vehicle will add new life to our infantry, with manufacturing starting in the 2015-16 financial year. The SA Army has streamlined projects aimed at addressing the issue of aging hardware. South African Army Air Defense Artillery is very short-range air defense, Vishorat in short. Starstreak missile is one of the many pieces of equipment that our projects are yielding and is currently being used by the Air Defense Artillery Corps as we speak. We're not resting on our laurels. While our pride, South Africa's landward force is facing the challenges of aging equipment. The South African Army is dealing with it, and our people can rest assured that we are more than ever capable to defend their interests. The South African Artillery Corps is also doing work on its G6 gun. With all these projects aimed at renewal of our force, we are also trying to expand our footprint in terms of operations that we get involved in domestically and on the African continent in pursuance of continental and regional security. Ladies and gentlemen, South African mission still remains to provide combat-ready forces for operations, and we have continued in the training trajectory to ensure that our forces are equipped with contemporary conflict resolution, humanitarian and warfighting skills to be utilized for internal and external peacekeeping and peace enforcement operations. When we started off, I indicated that our friends from the media are the eyes and ears of the South African people. To that end, we welcome your omnipresent critique of incidents of ill discipline within our midst. We commend the good work that you are doing, since as the military top brass, we cannot be at all places all the time. Still on that score, we We have minimized and almost eradicated incidents of ill discipline by our members. You should know that in the South African Army, or rather the South African Army makes up the biggest portion of the SANDF, and thus the biggest element of all arms of service. And from the incidents that you generally identify, chances are that you may find one or two of our members, but gradually our members are starting to disappear from the list of suspects. Be assured that we have adopted zero tolerance towards issues of ill discipline. Discipline is the responsibility of each and every member of the South African Army, regardless of rank one wears. The Military Disciplinary Measures Act also helps us arrest the decline in morals, good conduct, and military ethics amongst our members. We also implemented a speedy grievance system that facilitates a fair, transparent, and just redress for members of the South African Army that feel unfairly treated in the execution of their duties. Members have the option of approaching the office of the military ombud should they feel their cases were not addressed adequately within the Army and the SANDF. Ladies and gentlemen, the South African Army takes its responsibilities to the South African population very seriously. And with your support and constructive criticism, we shall prevail. Program Director, I now open the floor for an open and fruitful interaction between the SA Army members and the media. With your direction, I will now accept questions. To the members of the media, feel free to mingle with us and enjoy the rest of the day. I thank you.